Guardiola's successor is already chosen, and the name is going to blow your mind. Chelsea is ready to splash 80 million euros on a Barcelona superstar. Ronaldo already packing his bags from Saudi Arabia? Plus, is Diego Simeone really saying goodbye to Atlético Madrid? All this and much more in today's episode. Slam that like button and let's dive into the maddest transfer rumors right now. On Monday, Karim Benzema did something that is rarely done quietly in the Saudi Pro League. On deadline day, he completed a sensational free agent switch from Al Ittihad to Al Hilal, and by the reaction, that single move shook the balance of power across the league. It also set off a sequence that already looks less like football and more like behind-the-scenes lobbying, with Cristiano Ronaldo involved. Benzema is 38. He has been at Al Ittihad since 2023, but he was in the final 6 months of his contract and, according to reports, he was unhappy with the terms being offered to extend. That is where the rumors started. League leaders Al Hilal were said to be interested, and in the closing hours of the winter window they did not hesitate, they took the striker. Technically, it is only a free agent. In practice, it is the kind of move that shifts the landscape in a league where the difference in resources can matter more than tactics or current form. And then the story turns. It is reported that Ronaldo was outraged by Benzema's move and, because of that, missed the match against Al Riyadh. The club did not explain why the Portuguese star was absent. Ronaldo did not make any public statement either. But around the team, the usual cycle began immediately. Guesswork, insider claims, and talk about what was effectively a strike. The dispute is tied to support. Ronaldo believes Al Nassr should receive a higher level of backing from Public Investment Fund. PIF owns Al Nassr and also controls Al Hilal, Al Ittihad, and Al Ahly. And the fact that Al Hilal were able to complete the Benzema deal became one of the key triggers for a fresh wave of tension. From the viewpoint of the player who is supposed to be the face of the project, it looks obvious. The investor is the same, but the flexibility and the support feel different depending on the club. One specific detail matters. Ronaldo's contract includes a clause that allows him to leave Al Nassr in June 2026. He is 40, and interest from European clubs in Major League Soccer still exists. Al Nassr's leadership are now preparing to punish Ronaldo for missing the game, while the player believes that is deeply unfair when he compares how other clubs in the league are treated. Ronaldo sees this as a direct illustration of a funding imbalance inside the Pro League. Different clubs receive different levels of flexibility and support from the same investor. So the reaction is emotional, and the feeling is one of isolation, being undervalued, and growing doubt about the project he was once promised. And when doubt appears at this level, the situation usually accelerates on its own. At the same time, representatives of the forward are reportedly already receiving early contact from European clubs. Some are willing to adjust sporting plans around the veteran for one more last elite phase. MLS clubs are also monitoring the situation closely, attracted by Ronaldo's commercial potential and the chance to sign the most recognizable name of the modern football era. Publicly, Al Nassr keep repeating that Ronaldo remains the central figure of the project. The conclusion that follows without extra dramatics is clear. The June 2026 exit clause exists, but if the tension continues to rise, it can become relevant far earlier. Because when the same league sees Benzema move to Al Hilal, and on the same day a conflict breaks out around Ronaldo at Al Nassr, it stops looking like coincidence. It looks like a symptom that the entire system of support and influence inside the Pro League is starting to crack, right where money, politics, and ambition overlap the most. Chelsea are looking for a striker again, and this time their focus is on Ferran Torres. The Spaniard is in a really strong run in La Liga, and in London the view is that the final stretch of the season should be met with a real signing, not more talk. Based on the latest Spanish press reports, the Blues are working on an offer that could go up to 80 million euros to persuade Barcelona to let the player go. For the Catalans, it is a serious number. When the club is always managing money closely, a figure close to 80 million looks close to impossible to refuse. Quick pause here. If you're enjoying the video, hit like. Thank you. It genuinely helps the channel a lot. Notably, Chelsea want to sell the move not only through the fee, but through the role. In England, Torres would be offered a guaranteed place in the starting 11 and the central striker position in a clearly attacking system. The contract situation also suits the London side. Ferran's agreement with Barcelona expires in the summer of 2027. On paper, there is still time, but this is the point where any big proposal carries more weight, especially if the player is offered what he previously felt was missing. And in Catalonia, Torres did not have an easy path earlier. Since joining from Manchester City in January 2022, he has scored, but often had to wait for opportunities while sitting behind Robert Lewandowski in the internal order. This season, the balance has shifted. Torres has become a consistent starter and has 16 goals in 29 matches across all competitions. That level of finishing turns him into a clear market target. Chelsea, meanwhile, are searching for a stable central forward who can hit double-digit goal totals on a regular basis. Torres is not a new profile for them. He has been on the club's shortlist for a long time. Reports add that Liam Rosenior has spoken openly about being a strong fan of Ferran's tactical strengths. He rates his natural aggression when exploiting free space, how easily he links play, and his ability to perform on either flank. That versatility is central to the logic. Chelsea are still scanning the market for a multi-use attacker, and despite the depth in the forward line, the team has lacked productive wing output. From that angle, Torres looks like a very practical target, both as a central option and as a player who can be used wider if the situation requires it. But Barcelona do not look ready to simply hand over an effective 25-year-old, especially while he is improving his standing both on the pitch and outside it. The club are preparing to open talks over a new contract, and Torres' future has already become one of the key issues internally. Deco has set an extension as a priority for the next few months, and inside the club they believe the talks will be smooth once they begin, because both sides want to continue beyond 2027. So the question is, what will carry more weight? An offer up to 80 million, or Barcelona's belief that the player can be kept not only through words, but through a real role? Across the last two transfer windows, Atlético Madrid made major purchases. Last season, the spending reached 188 million euros, and last summer it was close to 176. Yes, the Colchoneros sell well, but the balance between money spent and money earned in that stretch is still around 100 million. In modern top football, that is not a shocking number, but in La Liga, where many clubs are currently counting every euro, it points to a different level of financial room. The question is straightforward: how can Atlético allow this? There are two pillars. One is the new stadium. It brings in strong, stable revenue and has turned into a real financial base. The second is the change in ownership. A controlling stake moved to the Americans at Apollo Sports Capital, and with it additional funds entered the club. The capacity is there, but the on-field return still looks too small, and that raises the main question. Even with investment, Atlético have not become a true competitor to Real Madrid and Barcelona over a full season. Last season, they finished 12 points behind the Catalans, with the same familiar outcome, third place. This season, the pattern is almost identical. On top of that, the team clearly slows down when it has to compete on several fronts. A recent home loss to Bodo, glimpsed in the Champions League, left Atlético in the round of 32 zone. Earlier, there was a Spanish Super Cup exit against Real, and the Copa del Rey is also not going smoothly. The pattern is obvious. When spending rises, but the season again turns into a heavy fight in every competition, patience runs out quickly. That is why internal tension is building. Over the last weeks, Diego Simeone has clashed with the new sporting director Matteo Alemany, appointed by the majority owners. The logic is direct. The investment is growing and the progress is minimal. If earlier Simeone could answer everything with status and results, now the discussion keeps coming back to one line: where are we going at all? At the same time, the context matters. Simeone is not simply the manager. He has been in charge for 14 years, arriving in December 2011, and he has become a living legend at Atlético. El Cholo has repeatedly said he will leave when he feels he can no longer push the team upward. Based on this season, the idea of a split no longer feels far-fetched, and the new owners did not arrive to keep things running by inertia. Apollo Sports Capital now owns 55% of the club, and the Americans appear to treat Atlético as a project that needs a reset of processes and a new governance structure. Alemany fits that approach. He is a manager with Barcelona experience, someone who builds systems and sets direction, and the club's leadership is already discussing successors. According to Spanish media reports, Alemany is sounding out the market and has at least two candidates in mind. Option 1 is Marcelino. Alemany rates him. Contact has already happened with the coach's camp, and there is another detail the board likes. In the summer, Marcelino may be free because his Villarreal contract expires. Option 2 is Andoni Iraola at Bournemouth. He is 43, and he has worked consistently in the Premier League for 3 years. That makes him not a promising theorist, but a coach who has shown he can hold a level in a demanding environment. So this summer at Atlético, the biggest change may not be another shopping list of players. Simeone is a coach of an era, but if the new ownership decides the trajectory must change, the legend can genuinely leave, and the club could move to a Spanish coach from the new generation. The list of clubs chasing Dayot Upamecano keeps getting longer. Barcelona are now in the fight as well. Both the Catalans and Real Madrid have already made firm moves to signal their interest in Bayern Munich's center-back. The story around the Frenchman is rapidly heading toward a decision. His contract with the Munich side runs out this summer. Bayern have offered a new deal, but they have set a hard deadline. The timeline is weeks, not months. At Real, Upamecano is treated as a rare opening in the market. Bringing in a proven elite defender without paying a transfer fee is close to an ideal outcome for Florentino Perez. Madrid rate Diot's strength, speed, and experience. His age also fits the club's longer-term planning. Internally, they see him as an immediate fix for depth in defense. Barcelona have also moved and opened communication channels. In Catalonia, they know that a player at Upamecano's level does not often become available under these conditions. Even with ongoing financial difficulties, the Blaugrana leadership believes he can be the long-term anchor of the defense and add leadership to a squad that is still being rebuilt. According to Fichajes, Barca's decision-makers understand that timing will decide everything. If Bayern cannot renew the contract soon, the Catalans want to secure an advantage before the competition becomes too tough. Bayern themselves are visibly uneasy. They still want to keep Upamecano, but the anxiety is rising. They do not want to lose a key defender for nothing, and they do not want negotiations to drift into the later part of the summer. The player, by all indications, is weighing the options. What matters to him is not only trophies but also stability and a clear role in the project, with consistent playing time. Outside Spain, the Premier League is a real danger. Liverpool, Chelsea, and Tottenham are closely following how this develops. Their financial power can become the deciding factor if Bayern officially place the player on the market. For Real and Barcelona, the English interest increases the pressure. Any delay gives Premier League clubs room to act aggressively and simply beat the Spanish sides with wages and bonuses. Real are weighing whether to make their interest official, while Barcelona are judging how realistic the move is. Upamecano's future will not stay unclear for long. The race for the French defender is already underway, and the club that manages its approach best will secure one of the most valuable assets on the market. Manchester City are back to doing what every super club dislikes most. They are laying the groundwork for a scenario they do not want to say out loud. According to The Telegraph, it is being seen as increasingly likely inside City that this season could be Pep Guardiola's last at the Etihad. Yes, some sources in the club are said to deny those conversations. But the paper insists there are people who believe the leadership may already be preparing for a possible change in the dugout. If it gets that far, any successor would be working under an impossible bar. Guardiola has spent 10 years in English football and has won 6 Premier League titles, the Champions League, and a string of other major trophies. This isn't about a coach who was just fine. It is about a person who turned the project into a system where everything depends on his ideas, his tempo, his demands, and the details. Speaking of commitment issues, if you've been watching this channel that long and still haven't subscribed, fix that. Hit the button, it's easier than winning the treble. Replacing that is not, we will find a strong manager. It is a situation where the next coach will be measured against an era, not against the previous season. That is why a 3-name shortlist is now being discussed: Xabi Alonso, Enzo Maresca, and Cesc Fabregas. The selection is revealing. It looks like an attempt to stay close to a familiar football philosophy. Coaches who either understand the game through a Guardiola-type school or who appear to continue the same line rather than turn sharply away from it. Reports say the top-rated name on City's list is Xabi Alonso. He is 44 and was recently sacked by Real Madrid. Before that, he did outstanding work at Bayer, so he is unlikely to stay unemployed for long. It is easy to see why Alonso appeals to part of the fan base. He comes across as a big name but also as someone linked to intelligence and modern football. But the real point is different. For many fans, the main wish is not Alonso, Maresca, or Fabregas. The main wish is that Guardiola stays for at least 1 or 2 more years if possible. Because when you have Pep, any successor talk feels like a contingency plan. And formally, it is not as if panic is required. Guardiola's contract runs until 2027, but football rarely follows paper. The team have issues with form. They are 6 points behind Arsenal, and they have won only 1 of their last 5 league games. At this club, even a short poor run starts the same chain: questions, searching for causes, and then talk about the future. Guardiola has said openly that after leaving City he would like to take a break, as he did after Barcelona. If the idea of a reset is forming for Pep, the club have to keep Plan B in mind, even if officially they keep saying nothing is happening. Now, to the other names. Enzo Maresca is on the short list as well. He understands how the team is structured and is ready to replace Pep. And then there is Cesc Fabregas, currently working at Como. He is 38 and has already delivered results above expectations. The point is clear: a young coach with a strong playing past, a modern approach, and potential. But the other side is just as clear. Replacing Guardiola is not a normal promotion. It is a jump into a vacuum where any mistake will be taken as proof that Pep should have been kept. So even if Fabregas will eventually get a job at a major club, right now it can genuinely look too early for a task of this size. City can deny it publicly, and that is expected. But the fact that a specific shortlist is being named and that the Telegraph are writing about a growing likelihood of Guardiola leaving points to one thing. The club are at least considering the crossroads ahead. And if Guardiola decides he needs a pause, the hardest part will not be finding a coach. The hardest part will be finding someone who can live after an era, not just manage the next season.